Welcome to Trader TV, your insight into the trading climate for professional investors. I'm Dan Barnes. To deliver best execution in volatile markets, traders must have the ability to segregate between high-touch trading with a voice or electronic and low-touch, more automated trading across assets. To discuss how to build that trading operation, we're in the studio with Pontus Eriksson, Strategy Director at FIS. Pontus, welcome to Trader TV.
Thank you for having me here.
So the first question I have is, what sort of pressures are buy-side firms facing to make trading more efficient?
I think buy-side is under significant pressure from specifically from a cost perspective. Mm-hmm. They offer, they have to look for improved fees. Mm-hmm. They have to understand that the market is moving from active to passive management to a large degree.
And do you see that affecting the way that they approach trading?
It does, because they're looking at much more technology these days. Mm-hmm. They try to look for cross-assets, OMS systems. They want to streamline their operation and be much more efficient and grow the business.
And what are you seeing from FIS clients in terms of moving towards a more electronic trading approach?
I mean, the FIS clients, they typically are the big and the small sell side and the big and the small buy side. So what they ask, if I start on the buy side, they ask for cross asset. Mm-hmm. They want to be able to trade and have advanced macro strategies, and they want to have order management on a cross asset basis.
Okay.
So that's relatively few vendors who can do that, and I mean not just cross asset in the sense that you trade equities and equity options, but cross-asset across the entire palette of products from OTC to fixed income to FX.
Yeah, that can be very challenging to have on a single platform.
Yes, it is, and I think that's ultimately what the market wants. And I think the market also wants to tie the OMS and the EMS business. So we're seeing OMS providers moving into EMS land and EMS moving into the OMS turf. So So I think the market's wish is for this to come to fruition in a couple of years' time. But right now, I think we're not there. Again, if you look at a specific asset class like convertibles, a highly specific product, when you typically have order management for these kind of products, you typically want to hedge them with equities. Mm-hmm. So you have to deal with them as a package where you basically route the actual convertible plus the equity hedge. And then you need to dissect them into two pieces and send off the equity to the exchange and they convert via the traditional OTC flow.
Yeah.
And that's quite challenging, because then you have an electronic workflow that is melded together and then needs to be dissected again.
Yeah.
Other things we see is there's a lot of development in the securities finance world. So people trading security loans. Mm-hmm. That previously were completely voice driven. A lot of them now trade them electronically on platforms.
There used to be a distinction between certain instruments as flow products, but perhaps that's breaking down a bit or changing.
It's just a gray zone these days, because if you look at bonds, for example, they can be traded on an RFQ model, yep, as opposed to a central limit order books, typically for equities.
Yeah.
But it's much more complicated if you go to OTC, for example, because then you have a multifaceted way of doing RFQs. Maybe you have a serial RFQ because you're awaiting an answer from the XVA desk. Yep. Maybe you have a parallel instance of an RFQ because you're trading an FX swap or a complicated product that it consists of two legs, and you essentially need to route it into two different places. Yep. And sometimes you have corporate flow coming in from a web interface, and sometimes you have fixed directly and DMA, and so all of this together forms the complexity of everything you need to cater for.
Right.
And that becomes complicated, and you need technology to maneuver all of this.
We've talked about both equities and fixed income. What are the technical challenges to put those sorts of instruments on a single platform?
I guess first and foremost, you have to be able to price these instruments.
Yeah.
What we at FIS is thinking about is you need to be able to price them first, so that is key. And then when you have a platform, and if you look at a traditional equity OMS system, it's difficult to shoehorn OTC products and fixed income into that because they are vastly more complicated.
Yeah.
It's rather the other approach you need to have. We have invested a lot in trying to understand these different types of RFQ models and how they work and how you want to operate them. That's I think where the secret is. Okay. To be able to understand the multitude of RFQ and combined with central limit order books.
And having that situation where you've got a fixed income product and an equity product that you need to trade simultaneously, presumably they have quite different liquidity profiles. So that must be challenging as to determine whether you voice trade electronically or how that works.
Absolutely. I mean, back to the convertible example, it's that's of course the case, right?
Yeah.
So it's a highly OTC versus liquid equity.
Okay.
But that's the way they want to trade, and it's very common in certain parts of the world where we have clients that they want to they trade structured products.
Yep.
It could be a combination of a bond plus equity options or an FX strip, or it could be all kinds of structured products together. So think of it as a series of strips or a series of legs or something like that. And they want to bundle that easily together, and they want to be able to market make it, if they are on the sell side. On the buy side, they want to be able to trade it simply. I think we have to respect that there's vastly different needs if you are a high performant equity trader versus the traditional OTC. So yeah. I guess, but I think it's the wrong way to start, to take an equity platform and try to shoehorn in fixed income and the other products.
Pontus, that's been great. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Dan. It's been great.
I'd like to thank Pontus Eriksson from FIS and of course you for watching. To catch our monthly reports on other markets or to subscribe to our newsletter, go to tradertv.net.